Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're decoding Numbers, the ledger of Israel's might. Now, you hear that title and you probably think of a dense, dusty, ancient text heavy with endless censuses and really strict laws. But honestly, what we're really looking at here is a dramatic, character-driven story of order versus absolute chaos. It's the ultimate ledger of a nation's might and a look at exactly how that very might is tested to its absolute limits.
Okay, so let's just dive right into this massive figure, 603,550. This isn't just some random headcount. According to the opening chapters of our source text, this is the exact fighting force of newly freed Israelites, counted from 20 years old and upward. This number represents the literal ledger of a brand new nation's might. It is a massive statement of raw power and readiness. Which brings us to Section 1, the Census of Might. Organizing a nascent nation.
When we break down this meticulously organized new nation by the house of their fathers and their exact numbers, the sheer numerical superiority of the tribe of Judah stands out immediately. With nearly 75,000 men able to go forth to war, they outnumber Dan and Simeon significantly. This physical superiority and structural organization is a major point of pride for this nascent nation. But as we'll see, it's a pride that makes their subsequent struggles in the wilderness even more striking. The text actually goes to great lengths to detail this intense physical geography. They're essentially turning the chaos of the wilderness into total perfect order by placing the sacred tabernacle in the absolute center. Then, they position the tribes fiercely on all compass points to protect it. You've got Judah taking the front on the east, Reuben on the south, Ephraim on the west, and Dan on the north. It's like a perfectly symmetrical, well-oiled military machine. Let's move to Section 2, Order in the Camp. The March and Murmuring. So, this perfectly structured army is finally set into motion when the silver trumpets blow and the divine cloud lifts from the tabernacle. But we very quickly see their physical ledger tested by internal doubt. Because, as it turns out, a pristine physical ledger absolutely does not equate to mental resilience. The text immediately reveals this mounting, bitter wave of murmuring and jealousy among the ranks. They're complaining, which displeases the Lord. They're literally weeping for the fish, cucumbers, and garlic of Egypt, completely exhausted by their daily diet of manna. And it's not just the people, even the leadership starts to crack, with Miriam and Aaron speaking against Moses' authority and his Ethiopian wife. We see this breakdown in morale build into some really severe consequences during the incident at Kibroth Hattahavah. The people weep and demand flesh to eat instead of manna. In response, a wind from the Lord brings a massive swarm of quails, covering a full day's journey on all sides of the camp. That's a lot of birds. The people greedily gather the meat for 2 full days and nights. But the text tells us, while the flesh was literally still between their teeth, a deadly plague strikes them down. Talk about a harsh audit of their internal discipline.
Now for Section 3, Giants and Grasshoppers. The ultimate deficit.
The true test arrives at the borders of Canaan, where 12 renowned leaders, one from each tribe, are sent to scout the land. And what they find creates a pivotal contrast. 10 of those spies deliver a terrifying report, claiming the land literally eateth up the inhabitants, and focusing entirely on the massive stature of the people there. But against them stand just 2 men, Caleb and Joshua, with unyielding confidence, urging the nation to go up at once and possess it. They declare, "The Lord is with us, fear them not."
But unfortunately, fear completely takes over. The 10 spies report, and there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. This perfectly encapsulates the core theme of our explainer today. We have this incredibly organized, numerically superior ledger of physical might, completely and utterly undermined by a devastating poverty of self-belief.
On to Section 4, Rebellion and Wandering. Bankruptcy and reset. The entire congregation breaks down, weeping all night and actually attempting to elect a new captain to return to the slavery of Egypt. It's a staggering rejection of their entire journey. The cost of that massive disbelief is a strict proportional penalty. Because the 12 spies searched the land for exactly 40 days before returning to spark this massive panic, the nation is condemned to wander for 40 years. They're forced to stay in the wilderness until that entire doubting generation, everyone from 20 years old and upward, wastes away entirely. And, as you might expect, chaos then fully overtakes whatever divine order was left. We see the rebellion of Korah.
Korah, along with 250 famous princes of the assembly, men of real renown, rise up directly against Moses and Aaron. They declare the entire congregation holy and demand the priesthood for themselves, fundamentally challenging the sacred structure established in that very first census.
The ledger is then brutally audited. The earth literally opens its mouth and swallows Korah, Dathan, Abiram, and all their goods. A divine fire consumes the 250 men offering incense. And it doesn't stop there either. 14,700 more people die in a subsequent plague fueled by even more murmuring. Eventually, the immense pressure causes even their leader, Moses, to critically fail. By striking the rock at Meribah in anger instead of speaking to it, he loses his own entry into Canaan.
Yet, amidst this total bankruptcy of the original army, the text provides some truly unexpected moments of grace. Take the incident of the fiery serpents, for example. When deadly snakes bite the people in the wilderness, Moses is commanded to set a brass serpent upon a pole. Survival simply required an Israelite to look up at it. It's this powerful, fascinating shift from relying on the physical might of an army to this simple requirement of obedience and focus. Which brings us to this incredibly sobering number: 0. This is the tragic reality of that massive initial census we discussed at the very beginning of this explainer. Out of the 603,550 fighting men meticulously organized to conquer the Promised Land, absolutely 0 of them, save for the 2 faithful spies, Joshua and Caleb, survived to claim their promised future. The ledger was entirely, 100% wiped clean. I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. If a perfectly organized ledger of physical might and numerical superiority isn't enough, what does it truly take for a nation to be ready for its promised future? The Book of Numbers shows us the tragic irony of that first incredible census. It reminds us that the greatest threats often come not from the massive giants outside our walls, but from the fearful grasshoppers we allow to live within our own minds. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning what you think you know.